Hi, welcome to the channel. We are in the greenhouse today. It is our 1-year anniversary since we completely built this, and I've done a lot of changes throughout the last year. I wanted to share with you all, based on a lot of questions I've gotten on the series that I did on building the greenhouse, on things that I would change, what I like and what I don't like. I think this is going to be a good video for people that have had a greenhouse for a while and really aren't enjoying it that much, as well as someone who was really thinking about getting one. So stick around. I'm going to show you all some neat things that I really enjoyed and things that I didn't enjoy so much about having a greenhouse in the first year. Okay, so one of the first things that we added to the greenhouse that we stumbled across that I didn't even think about was our shelving. Okay, so we have a piece of 1x6 here, and it just goes underneath these. I've not seen any other greenhouses, the planters that are using them this way. We stumbled across this. This is not any thing other than just, wow, I think we could put a shelf there. You could put a 1x8. It's really tight. I had these 1x6s. You can see the extra room here. But these shelves offer a large amount of extra space for our propagation. You can see we've got our Confederate roses and then a purple sweet potato that I'm trying to root now for the slips in the spring. So this is something that we utilize. You can see we've got it on both sides and it goes all the way back. I've got a lot of my stuff over my workbench that I use as well. Something that we just stumbled across about 6 months ago was I had a piece of galvanized pipe. This is a 1/4 inch up in my barn, and I brought it down here just to try this out. This works incredible. So you can see I've got these that I've used before that are just hanging on the frame. Well, you can do a whole lot more here. So on this Christmas break, we're on the back end of Christmas, I'm going to be putting in a long pipe all the way through on this far side for my hanging pots. I think that it's going to make a big advantage long term. Okay, one of the things that I was concerned about when I built, I got overzealous, was the length of my work table. I did, again, the same boards here. I just used the 1x6s and I slotted them so that there would be room for water to run, and I built a shelf down below. I had numerous people that came in and they said, you're giving up so much room in the greenhouse with this workbench. And at first I doubted myself, and then I've realized over the past year, we use all of this. So you can see right now I've got some onions going, and we've got some herbs that we're just kind of playing around with. But I've got 2 4-foot pads right here that I can completely line my trays up on. And I still have plenty of space down here, as you can see with all of my seeds right now, that I can work and it's not affected, so I'm not having to move stuff around. I've got my potting tray. And in full time, in late January, when I've got, 10 trays on here, I still need space to be able to work with. I have gone to some of the greenhouses of friends of mine, and they are very congested because they've got their seeds and everything out. I want everything here, and that is going to make a huge difference. So when you're building it, make it to where if you're going to build something small, I would suggest making and having enough room where you can extend it. I've got all of my pots underneath here. I've got all my mix I've already made underneath here. I have my shade cover, a ton of stuff underneath here that I can store, and it's not going to be affected. I have to go and build another shed to store stuff. Everything that I use for my greenhouse is in here and stored underneath here. Let me tell you something that I don't like. And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with it. It just doesn't fit what I'm doing. And that is, when I bought my heater right here, when I bought this heater, it came with this thermostat. And the thermostat is great. It's a BioGreen. I like it in the summertime because I can actually plug in a dual piece here, and I can put my 2 fans, and I run extension cords up to the top of the fans at the top to get airflow going through. I don't like it because sometimes it will just cut off, and I will get an alert that says that the alarm is going off, it's getting too hot, and I might be at work and I have to fly home to take care of it. So this is about 90% reliable, but the 10% that it's not reliable is a really big deal, in my opinion. Also, this is what you don't want to get. I bought a multi-port surge protector that is supposed to be waterproof. I have my charge cord for my phone so that it can be charged up here when I listen to my music. The USB ports lasted about a month, and that was not what, there was not any water or anything falling on it. I do not recommend. I think that if you're going to get this or one like it, don't pay the extra. Get an outdoor one, but don't get a greenhouse one, and especially not with USB ports. It really has not done the job what I thought, and it actually has flipped off a couple times, and everything up here is LED with the exception of a couple of the heaters. So there's no reason why this thing should be kicking off. So that's some things I don't really like. I'm still trying to figure out the heating and the cooling systems of this, but I would definitely be I'd very much be cautious on getting either one of those. Here is something that I am going to highly talk about and why you need to get them. I tried to save money and go with some plastic shelves that you could stack and you could take apart from Home Depot or Lowe's, one of the big box stores. The problem that I ran into is they are so much plastic. There is so much plastic, and the legs are so big that when I put it in here, there was a lot of shade, and it wouldn't go up but so high, and you couldn't get but 3 shelves. But anything on this shelf, on the plastic ones, not this one, on this one at the bottom, there was no sun. So inexperience of a greenhouse, I didn't know, but a lot of the stuff my first year this spring on these 2 shelves, on the plastic ones, not these shelves, they simply did not do well because there was no sun. Everything up top, you know, as you can see with these trays, there's not much shade that's going to be down, or not much sun that's going to come down. I pulled those shelves and I went ahead and bought these. These were about $100 a piece. I got the green because they are powder coated. They're not going to rust in here. And this is probably my best purchase of 2023 that I got for the greenhouse, because I can stack now, you know, on a tray of 50, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 250 seedlings on this. I can do another 250 here and another 250 down below. There's enough light with these like this that things are going to get through. And I bought another one after getting the first one together. I absolutely love them. And you can store stuff on the bottom or the middle during the off season like this. We are just kind of getting stuff going in here. But these are great. They're actually from a restaurant company, and I'm going to put the link below. I did not get them off Amazon. I got them from the restaurant company, but make sure that you don't get the chrome. In my investigation and all of the stuff that I did around buying these, the chrome ones will rust over amount of time, and the powder coating on these, the green, matches the motif in here a little bit better, and I like it because I don't have to worry about it rusting. Okay, here is something, my other video that I talked about, hidden costs video, and you can check that out if you look in our library. But one of the biggest things that I'm really happy about this year was that I bought this Palma BioGreen Palma heater. Okay, bought that because everybody said this is what you need to get on the internet. Again, I've said before, don't listen to everybody and on the YouTube channels. But I would say I bought this, and when I bought it, I had to use the thermostat that came with it and had to do a bunch of programming, and there were some issues. And this did okay, but if the thermostat goes out on that, then this will either run or not. And honestly, it's nice, but it is just not all that. This is a 10 by 26. It's not supposed to be, this is not supposed to heat this entire greenhouse, and I know that. But I did not see where it was doing what it needed to do even remotely. So I was visiting my dad. He's older. He had these heaters that he wasn't using anymore. These are just a ceramic element. These are made by Lasco. Thermostat is built in it. These do a great job of heating my entire greenhouse. Now, you can see, you can set the temp. You can set it up to 4 hour, whatever. All I do with this is I just set it on 50. We added it up because it's a little chilly in here, but we set the temperature and that's it. And I put it on auto. What's nice about it is you can also move this up and down, and you can have all the heat going straight up. Heat rises, I let it blow. You can see where this part of the greenhouse on this side. I also have one on the other side that I went ahead and purchased as well because it did such a great job. These are fantastic. They are not waterproof, okay? So you're gonna have to be careful when you're around it, but I have not had any issues, and we used this the last part of the winter of last year and into this year. What's nice too, they are super light. You can see this, super light. So all that I do is just pull them, take them in the garage in the summertime and make more room. Highly, highly recommended. I think we're talking about $100 each. But if you have someone old in your family that likes the radiant heat, like I do, you probably have one of these sitting around. I mean, my dad had some sitting around, and it was great for me to be able to utilize those. But this is an absolute must. The two of them, I can leave the temp low. They don't run a lot because they do such a great job, so that keeps the cost of energy down in here as well. But we run these all winter. I've had a couple of people that have asked me about why I didn't do raised beds in my greenhouse. And I wanted to address that because this is something that with the gravel being in the ground, on the ground here, the pea gravel, it was a really good decision. We have fire ants down here in the south. And so in the winter time, if it's cold outside, the fire ants, if you have dirt in here, they will try to come in and make a bed and live inside your greenhouse. I don't want that. I've had one issue last winter where the fire ants did come in and they got into one of our potted plants like this. I was very fortunate to catch it early. But in some of the conversations that I've had with people that have raised beds in the south, they have talked about that they have a major problem with the fire ants because they come underneath and they get in, and then it's miserable. You can't do anything. So in the wintertime, if you're trying to grow stuff, you don't even have the opportunity to take the plant out of here and repot it, get the ants out and repot it and put it back in. You're going to have to use some type of a chemical supplement to kill it, and that kind of defeats the purpose if you're organic. So I highly recommend the pea gravel. This was really cheap. We went to our co-op, they had it. And I did put a layer of crush and run underneath to pack it down, because if you don't and you just pour this right on top of bare dirt, it is going to sink and sink and sink down because it's round. It's not going to set like a cut jagged rock is. It's going to just keep going. So I put crush and run down. I then came back and put a black tarp. A lot of the ones that you see and that we use in pathways, in gardening, I put that on top. It's porous, the water will run through, and then I came back and put the pea gravel on top. I absolutely love this because it's very calm up here as well. And the pots, as you can see, I can easily adjust them to where they need to be without having to have jagged rocks or anything like that nature. But if you're in the south, I think it would be different if you're up north and you wanted to do a raised beds. But I use the bigger pots, and that works fine for me. We're only going to grow a certain amount of stuff in here in the wintertime. Okay, one of the things, if you guys watch the video, you're going to see I don't have any ventilation windows, any automatic windows in here. The greenhouse, you can buy them, and they're extra, and I did buy 4. And my intent was to put in 4 in here. I've had more than one person come back in some of my previous greenhouse videos and ask me why I don't have the vent windows. And one guy even asked, what am I talking about with tornadoes, when I mentioned why I don't. Where we are, we can have a tornado warning pop up in a matter of no time. And if I'm traveling or away and that window is up, this is just polycarbonate. If I have the window up, and it is hot enough, because tornadoes come in the summer, that window is open. If we get heavy winds and that wind comes through and it hooks one of these windows, it's not going to just rattle. It's going to take it completely off. and then I'm going to have a bigger deal than worrying about some heat. So I don't know that I'm going to put them in. I cannot, you know, you can pull them down and get a chain, but if you're not here, you're kind of stuck. So I don't think I'm going to put them in until I am completely not working and I'm here on the farm 5 days a week, 7 days a week. But right now I have a job and I can't be here all the time. So I would love to be able to put them in. And I think that in some greenhouses you probably could, but opening up these windows, I open up this and this in the summertime, and I have a fan that I hook right here, just a simple box fan from Walmart, and I have the air pushing this way, and I have a fan at the other end that pushes it out. It keeps this greenhouse in Alabama, so take this in mind wherever you're at. In Alabama, it gets up to 100 in here about 5 days out of the year. So the rest of the time, it's anywhere between 100 and below, but I'm not growing a lot of stuff in here in the summer. With not growing in the summer, I want to explain why. Again, I travel, so if the doors are open, I'm very fortunate to be able to call and someone will shut the doors on the greenhouse in the evenings if need be. Most of the time during the summer, I leave them open because once we get everything up to a decent size and we get it out in the garden, I'm not growing in here. But I felt like this year that a lot of space was not utilized. So what I'm going to be doing this year is putting in a misting system. I went over the summer to a seminar that Mississippi State had at one of their extension offices, and I had the honor of meeting a gentleman from Auburn, and you guys need to check him out. His name is Daniel Wells. He's a PhD, and he has a degree in horticulture. He talked about utilization of greenhouses, and this guy has traveled all over the world. Again, his name is Dr. Daniel Wells. Brilliant in the field. He's traveled all over the world and has extensive knowledge on greenhouses, and I asked him a little bit about how I could utilize it more than I could or was using. Misting is an option, and they have a couple of misting systems out there. I have purchased something. I cannot justify $170 for a mister timer, because if you're going to mist in a greenhouse, and I'll run that up here with a piece of PVC and just run some misters down, you have to have a specific mister timer, because you can't use the timers that we use outside that only go twice a day. You need to mist about every 25 minutes at the latest. So a lot of timers don't allow that. So you have to find a certain mister. I just cannot afford or justify paying $170 for that when I've got all the space outside. So I'm going to be working on some type of a misting system at this end of the greenhouse so that it doesn't affect my workbench. But definitely, I think I want to utilize this in the summer, and maybe my tomatoes and my peppers when I put my shade cloth on. But that's going to be something new this year. Okay, so we're outside. Here is something about the planted greenhouse that I do not like, and you're not going to hear me say I don't like many things about it, because I am 99.3% satisfied with this entire greenhouse. This is probably the only thing that I do not like about it, and as you notice, we're on the outside, so take that into effect. Every band here, okay, at the top has these little tiny, where you have to put the keel, the reverse keel at the top, has the bolt that comes up about this far. Okay, so when I bought the shade cloths, we bought 8. But when you go to get the cloth across, it is snagging on those bolts. And so if Planta was to go out of business tomorrow, I don't know how we would get a shade cloth if the other ones went out, because you can't buy one big one. You know, my friend Jim has got a huge one that he puts over his hoop house, and it's done. With this, when June hits, I have to roll up, put a couple little bungees on it, throw it over, and then tie it on this, and then go to the other side and undo it. Then I have to come over to this one and throw it over and make sure I get it over and pull it over. And then, so you can't do one shade cloth down the road. It's all individual ones. Is it a big deal? It actually is, because it takes a lot of time, and I snagged one of my shade cloths doing this and ripped it. First year trying to figure out how to do it. Something that's also different about it is if you have one big one, you can tie it at the bottom. With this, you're doing 8 individual tie downs at the bottom to hold it in place. It is nice. I didn't use it for this because, you know, it's so hot and sunny down here, but I think what is nice if you did that would be that you can only do half of it, you know, or you could jot it out, you know, one shade cloth, this one not, shade cloth not, and go through and be and have a good filter. But you could also, if you could use one big one, you could actually just fold it back over and have more shade on this end and less down there. But that's the only thing on the greenhouse out of a full year with this. That is the only thing that I do not like about this greenhouse is the shade cloth. And really that's not even the core of it, is that you have to do 8 different or 20 or however many sections you have. You have to do that many different ones to make it work. And I'm sorry I don't have a video on that, but it's winter and we didn't do it when it was summertime. But that's the only thing I don't like about it. Okay, in my video of the foundation and how we built the foundation, I talked about how I built the foundation up instead of going down and putting in footers. I did my crush and run, and you can look in my library and see that. I won't bore you in going back over that again. But one of the things that we kind of fell into is, with it being up so high, I've come in and I have, and I'm still working on this, so don't judge me on my flower beds, but I've come in and I've put this rock down, but as you can see, I have this much height. Okay, so I'm gonna be able to have a good amount. I'll probably bring my dirt up to here and I'll be able to bring it down. That's gonna be a large amount of, that I can put all the way down through here. Okay, this is huge. This is 3 feet by 28, 29 feet. That's a really nice sized bed. I can put my onions in here in the winter. I'm really planning on some Russian mammoth in here. This is the south this way, so I'm gonna have some beautiful Russian mammoth sunflowers in here and my grandmother's zinnias. And that will also shade some of this too, because the sun's gonna come over, so this is gonna shade some of that. We also built, my videographer, Savannah, and I built this, and we raised it up and I put some pavers in here. The step was a lot to get in. I raised this up, but Savannah had a great idea of making these beds as well. Now, we had someone come by just yesterday, and I was asking, I always ask young minds what they think, and this was a concern of mine. When I opened this up to come in, Savannah noticed this. What do you plant here? Even if this bed wasn't here, what do you plant? Because the door is going to stop it, okay? Young minds, I love having my daughter's friends that come over and I can say, hey, what do you think about this and what do you not think? They had a great idea and they said, hey, why don't you just put something so, you know, you can put something ornamental right here in the summer and then take a bungee cord and just attach it to this, okay? I would have never have thought about that, as simple as that is. So I won't use Buddha, but I will use probably a large stick or something to do that. But that's going to allow me to be able to grow stuff. So we'll use that as well. This is really simple to build. I use scrap wood. I wanted it to be rustic. I've not finished it. We're talking about maybe doing some creeping Jenny or something in here in this one little area to cover up the dirt. But that's been a big piece that we've just built. In the south here, we have to build in the winter because fire ants, deer flies, the heat, mosquitoes, and everything else just does not make for an enjoyable day to do any type of work on the farm. So what is a tool that you absolutely, unequivocally have to have in a greenhouse in the winter? I'm going to show you. It is this right here. I know this is very unconventional for a greenhouse, but if you get one of these, I'm a hiker, did a lot of hiking in my youth, so I had a JetBoil, okay, and I have just my little propane tank underneath, okay. This is so good with your mug to sit up here and have you a cup of coffee. This right here has saved me from having to get out in the cold and go down to the house and get that. I have my water hookup, I put it in here. I go by Walmart, I get some of those instant Folgers because I'm not up here trying to act like I'm in a French cafe. I just want a good cup of coffee. So I will do an instant coffee in this, but I also love my Trader Joe's Moroccan tea, mint tea. You can keep those up here, and I keep them in a Ziploc bag so the humidity doesn't get in and ruin them. But this is essential if you like coffee or tea and you're up here chilling out and you're listening to your music and you're just working and you don't want to have to take a break. This is great. My daughter, when she's up here and when she's not filming, she sits up here. We keep a spare chair, and she sits up here with me and knits and sips coffee and chats with me while I'm working up here as well. So think seriously about this. You can see how small this is. It can just go anywhere, but this is a killer thing to have in a greenhouse. I think that's going to conclude the video. I just wanted to show you guys some things after 1 year. I said last year when I was building this, I've never built one. I didn't know what I wanted to do and how this was going to work out. But if you are a person that really enjoys gardening, I highly, highly, highly recommend a greenhouse. I highly recommend the Planta. They're not paying me anything. I did a lot of research. I talk about that a lot. I'm a research guy. I did a ton of research on greenhouses. This was the one that I picked. I would not by any means look at getting another one. I'm perfectly happy with it. Outside of that shade cloth, I just can't ask for anything better. It holds heat really well in the wintertime. It does a great job with no leaks. I've not had any leaks in this greenhouse. A lot of the people that have glass and some of the other kinds talk about leaks. I haven't had any leaks. And it's just very well built structurally, and the customer service is great. So any questions or comments, let me know. I'm here to help anybody, as those people have helped me that I reach out to about greenhouses. So if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to leave something below and I'll get back to you.